Hello, beautiful people. What's up, Facebook? What up, Instagram and YouTube? How y'all doing? So, I wanted to come live, and I guess I wanted to ask y'all, what is the risk? What is the risk? What is the risk? What is the risk? Y'all probably like, girl, what is you talking about? So, I hired a coach, and we were talking last week, and actually, before we even just talk, like just over the past few months, I have been doing a lot of work on myself, deep work, and I'm learning things about myself that some of it I thought that I just had shame around it, or like I couldn't articulate it. And I'm gonna be real with y'all to get straight to the point. So I realized that I have a bit of an intimacy issue. I realized, and I see it. I see y'all as y'all are beginning to say, tune in. Definitely say hello, Zay, so I can say hello back. I know I haven't been going live every day like I used to, but I am still trying to check in with y'all every week and keep y'all up to date. So definitely tell me hello so I can know, where y'all watching from, and just I want to know how y'all doing. With that being said, y'all, like one thing that I have learned about myself is I have some. We all, first of all, before I just tell y'all all my business, we all have our own stuff, right? We all have our own stuff, and one of the analogies that I can put it is like we all just have our own stuff just based on how we were raised, just the different things we've been through in life. And a lot of times, imagine like an ice cream cone, right? So you have an ice cream cone with two or three scoops of ice cream. And our life is like that, right? But a lot of times we have the bottom row. So you have three scoops of ice cream, right? The bottom scoop is all of our past trauma, it's all of our mess, it's all of our shame, it's all of our guilt, it's all of our shit, right? So it's like you have a shit scoop from your life, right? And then we're trying to put, you know, ice cream, or like, we're trying to put new habits, or we're trying to put be in relationships, we're trying to, mask other stuff, but the shit scoop is still there. I know that's kind of like, oh my gosh, but like that's literally how I'm learning that I feel most of us live. Like most of us, we are not getting rid of the shit scoop, or at least like, figuring out like what happened, how did it get here, and we are just putting, and we think something is wrong with us, but really it's the first scoop that we need to get rid of and we need to examine, right? So I say all that to say, one thing that I have learned about me is I can be disconnected. I can be disconnected with relationships. I can be, lack some intimacy in my life. And I'm learning why. I'm accepting why. I'm, getting rid of that first scoop, right? And and the interesting thing about that is, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like you're so friendly, so nice. I know how to talk to people, right? I know how to talk to people. I know how to have relationships, but it's whenever it's time for us to go deeper that there's something that happens. And a lot of times I'm like, oh, it's just life. But really, it was just me up until now, right? We don't, up until now. And so, as I'm learning more about myself and I'm going deeper, what I'm finding is, um, I felt like connected, so to speak, because I'm like, I talk to people, I know how to, have relationships, but it could be fears that show up differently, right? So, meaning, I think, and I'm still going through this. So next week, I might be like, no, y'all, it's not intimacy or connection. It's actually this. I'm still in the process. I'm in the messy middle of finding the words and the emotional vocabulary to um, help me figure out my first shit scoop, right? But what I'm realizing is, it shows up differently. So a lot of the times, like I never would have put it in, like in the front part of my brain saying, oh, I have intimacy issues or I have connection issues, is because I mask it very well by being open and having relationships. But then when I look at my life, I'm like, how deep do I really go with people? You know what I mean? How come, like, as I'm in relationship, like, how come, like, there's like, something happens, or, like, there's like all these feelings that I don't want to be present in relationships. So what I'm saying is, a lot of times our fears can tell us about the things that are affecting our life. And both, everything is neutral. I'm also learning everything is neutral. There's no really good or bad. Everything is neutral. It's just the emotional attachment that we put to it. So even for me, like, coming live and just telling y'all all my business, like, oh yeah, I got intimacy issues, like, yeah, yeah, and I do take it seriously, and I am, like, going deep and learning. But at the same time, because I know that it's a neutral event, it is what it is, right? I am being proactive to not have any shame or guilt, because I don't want to seem like I'm not that deep. I don't know if that, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to seem like, okay, yeah, me and her cool, but we don't have nothing deep. Because I actually understand that, social relationships, it's a human need. Like, we are not like any other creature on the earth. So, you know, people who are happier in their lives normally have genuine, deep, fulfilling, loving, wholesome relationships. And so that's a goal of mine. So that's why this is important to me, because I'm like, what's the disconnect, right? And so I say all that to say, um sometime, and I'm just talking myself through this. Is this becoming like my little blog here? But I'm saying all that to say, me paying attention and going through my emotions and just my past and different relationships, I'm realizing, hey, how you doing, Don? I'm realizing that I never would have. I don't think I've ever would have realized, like, okay, boom, it is intimacy, like deep intimacy and connection. And so what that looks like for me is, I never really knew up until this last week, but fears show up differently. And for me, like, one of my fears I didn't really know, because I am really risque, y'all. I will put myself out there. I will embarrass myself. I would do some things that my heart is like, girl, please, or my brain is like, girl, please don't do it, girl. Please, we're gonna get embarrassed. Don't do it, don't do it. But I'm pretty risque. So I never really associated, like, I have a fear of like things. But when I realized I do have fear, I just have fear in very specific areas of my life. I'll just go out there and tell you. So one of my fears in relationships is fears of rejection. And at first I'm like, ain't no way I fear rejection, because I'm always doing something crazy in my life. I'm always, you know, em- embarrassing myself so I don't feel like low self-worth. I'm always doing things. So I'm like, okay. And so I'm still diving deep on it, but it showed up in an instance, and I'm like, oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. So I ain't trying to tell y'all all my business, but I do want to just give you all the opportunity. If you are gonna go deep, pay attention to the things, even though it may not be like, for instance, I didn't think I had a lot of fears, but whenever I examine, and as I am continuing to examine different areas of my life, I'm like, okay, where's that resistance coming from? Why do I have so much resistance? Meaning, y'all know how it's just like something can happen, or like, you're put in a situation and it's like this fire and like irritation and frustration and like, it feels like, it's like there in your chest. Whenever that is happening, that is a sign that there's some resistance, there's something, and you can name it whatever you want to name it. And I realize when I am in certain situations, that feeling doesn't come up. So that's why I was like, oh, I don't have any fears. But when I'm in particular situations, every single time, normally with people, it comes up. And I'm like, ah. So I hope that makes sense. Do y'all know what I'm saying? If y'all know what I'm saying, y'all go ahead and double tap the heart so I know I'm not sounding crazy. But what I'm saying is, y'all, even though we may not have the words for it or we may not completely understand it or understand it, in order for us to go deep, in order for us to know, like, and understand the shit scoop of our life, right? All the trauma, all the past. Because I will say, a lot of that fear that I'm talking about, it happened, even though, like, y'all, I'm so super grateful for my parents. Look, I'm justifying and telling my story right now, right? It comes out naturally. So we tend to like justify and like make it seem okay for things that, we experienced in our life. And I'm just gonna call it like it is. But so, for example, I do believe though, I do believe that I'm super grateful for my parents and just my life. Like, I'm so grateful for my life. And but that doesn't mean that there weren't things that impacted me that helped me become the way I am. Both, even though everything is neutral, I have developed emotional attachments that aren't always yin. There's the yin and the yang, right? We'll just say that because I don't really want to say positive and negative because there's emotional traction with that. But, there's yin and yang, right? It just is what it is, but everything is still neutral. So, what I realize is a lot of times, and through my journey, is I have justified things that, I mean, they did happen, but at the same time, it's like I ignore the emotional or the mental or just my personal genuine experience with it. You know what I'm saying? So the reason why the shit scoop is there, right, is because we don't acknowledge like, this impacted me. And even though I'm grateful for, this experience of my life, I'm still impacted by it. And that's okay too. And that is what it is too. You know what I'm saying? So and I hope y'all really understand that, because that's deep. So let me go a little bit deeper on that. You can experience something. Okay, I'm gonna just go with it. You can experience something in your life. You can experience something in your life and be grateful for it, but it also can have an impact on you that has caused some type of trauma or some type of emotional bruise or some type of mental bruise, and that be okay too. Yes. So Don asks, is this like a trigger? Yes. So yes. That resistance and that irritation that you feel in certain situations, like for instance, let me use my example, because I just was like, let me just come on here and talk, because I really wanted to share this experience with y'all, and I'm gonna listen to this again. I know it's all over the place. I didn't have no prompts, no script, or nothing. I was like, let me just go live. I journaled about it last week, and so I'm still like processing it. Like, all this that I'm talking about, I might listen to this a month from now or a year from now, and I'm like, I don't know. She didn't know what she was talking about. But yes, triggers. So things that we are triggered by, recognize what it is about it that disturbs you. Yes. So going back to my example, to make this make sense. Underneath the layers, so I was talking about the shit scoop, and I don't even know if that even makes sense to y'all, but I'll just use this. Okay, underneath all the layers of me being friendly and me being able to hold conversation and me being able to create new relationships in my life, under all that, when I am put in certain situation, there is a little bit of irritation or resistance. I'll use this as an example. When I get y'all don't be mad at me. Y'all don't be mad at me. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't want y'all to be mad at me, but I'm gonna be real with y'all. When I okay, so I Look at me. I'm trying to justify. I'm trying to justify, which I don't have to because it is what it is. It's my truth. For instance, I know how to build and have relationships. However, when I get random phone calls, and I'm working on it. But when I get unscheduled phone calls, I freeze. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, I don't, maybe it's a thing of me not expecting it, but I will say I don't know if I'm a friend of surprises. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, can we, I don't know, y'all. I'm working through it. I'm gonna figure it out, and hopefully I come back and do another live about this. But yes, so it's like, okay, my number's open. I tell people, call me, do that. But when people call me, I literally freeze. Like, what am I supposed to do when it's unexpected? Like, if I know, oh, somebody's calling me today, it's like, okay, cool. But if somebody calls me out of the blue, I'm normally like, so as I'm working to this, I'm like, do you? Oh, go ahead, Don. Don said, "Do you have to take these calls?" So, Don, that's the imbalance I'm trying to figure out, girl. I'm trying to figure that out. But I'm curious, Don. Work with me now. I'm curious. Why do I freeze? Why do I like have a little bit of resistance? Why do I have resistance when I'm getting these phone calls, these unscheduled phone calls? If I tell people, right? And that's what I'm saying. I know it's me because I'm telling people, hey, my line is open, call me. But when people call me, I'm like, like I freeze and I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, this girl is crazy. So she said, can they text you instead and set up a call? So Dawn, fear from a past call. I'm a marinate it on it, Dawn. I'm gonna marinate it. We're gonna marinate on it. We don't know yet. Zay today doesn't know yet. I'm what I will say is I'm gonna get personal with y'all. I'm gonna get personal with you, Don. I see people coming in and going out, but so what I wrote in my journal the other day is I ain't gonna read y'all everything. So well, hold on. Let me frame it because that line that I was thinking about is pretty deep. I think perhaps it is. Yeah, let me think. I don't want to misspeak because so what came to my front because my coach was like, she asked me, she was like, what happened in your childhood? And so I'm starting to like remember things and think of things like, okay, well, it was this one incident. And she's like, well, yeah, I mean, as a child, we are so naive and we are so like, we frame our personalities and our perception on life as kids. So I'm remembering things that I'm like, I remember that. And I remember saying to myself that I would never, or I would do this because I didn't want this, or I wanted this. So there were, and I do want to be careful because part of my healing is my journey. It is my journey. But at the same time, if it is directly impacted with other people, I haven't spoken a whole bunch about it to them. So I don't want to, I'm saying, because we all doing the best that we can out. So I don't ever like if something's just me, and I feel like telling y'all, I don't mind telling. But if it's related to other people or impacting other people, I am going to be careful because I also want to respect them and give them privacy. Maybe it's not something they're ready to 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 uh to um to uncover. So Dawn said, it could be a deep and from your childhood. Maybe you got in trouble with a call as a child. So kinda. I mean, that actually did happen when my grandma passed away. I knew something weird had happened that day, and then I was like I was at school that day. I stayed after school because I was trying to get tutoring for biology, honors biology. But then my teacher wouldn't even, it was just a crazy day. And then my mom called me and she told me. So yeah. So that happened, but that was like a little bit later. I'm trying. So what I think it is was there were relationships when I was younger than 16. Hey T, how you doing? I don't know about being scolded. But there were relationships when I was younger, and I just felt like the person or the people didn't have time for me. I felt like the people did not have time for me. And because of the relationships and just as a child, like, when we're kids, we just want we just want love and presence and attention and all the things, right? We just want that. But as a child, there were certain relationships and just certain moments that I'm remembering that there were times where I felt like I didn't let me just try to. There were times where I felt like um the relationship was superficial. I mean, I didn't say this as a child, of course, but I just knew, like, okay, this person doesn't have time for me. I knew that, okay, this person, um they're not interested. They're not interested in me or what I have to say, so I have to be quick with them. Yes, there were emotional triggers. Yeah. So because of my perception as a child with these relationships, I learned, number one, I better, whatever I got to say, I better say it fast, and I better, when I'm talking to people, I need to get direct because they get uninterested real quick, and I don't have their attention. But then also, and I didn't want to read this verbatim, but also, let me see. Um, I guess at a time it probably felt like my learning around it was like I didn't feel, y'all, we ain't about to do no session on this. Listen, we still working. We still working. We still working through this. But at the time, I caught on real quick that some relationships, let me think. I'm trying to be careful, y'all, because I really don't want to, I really want to be respectful. But I feel like you can choose your family. I feel like you can choose your, but you don't know that as a child. As a child, you feel like, okay, as a child, you feel like because this is my family, we love each other, and the things we say should translate into actions. I have experiences in my personal life where the things people said didn't match their actions. So for me, I'm like, okay, um, we can say these things and things can look good, but we still can like treat people as if we didn't just tell them I love them, or we put our we put our intention on things that we feel are important to us. And so what I'm saying is, because I know I'm speaking broken right now, I'm probably going to be so embarrassed to post this, but I'm going to keep it up there and in the internet ether. But what I'm saying is, I felt disconnection, emotional disconnection at a very young age. And I felt like, and this is just me today, like I said, a year from now, I may have different perception. But what I learned over the past couple of month is that I feel like I do have a connection and intimacy issues with relationships because people say that they love you, or people say, say all these things, but they don't give you attention. Or in the next heat of the moment, there could be a misunderstanding, and they say that they love you, but then they say other things that doesn't feel or show that they love you. So I think early on, I learned I can have family and relationships and love, but it ain't got to be that deep. You know what I'm saying? So I think, you know what I'm saying? I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it out. But I brought that up is because I said that I have a connection and an intimacy issues. And it is because I have a fear of rejection, because as a child, and I didn't even know this word, I just learned, I knew this word, but I didn't know what it felt like. Like I could learn and Google it and learn a definition, but it was brought to my attention that, okay, well, maybe you have fear of rejection. Going back to what I was talking about earlier, I never thought that I had fears because I do put myself out. But in relationships, I'm not as risque. Like, I'm risque with like embarrassing myself on social media. I'm risque with like speaking up for myself. I'm risque for telling people what I believe, and it is what it is, honey. But in relationships, when it's dealing with people, it looks different. You know what I mean? So one thing that I journal, and like I said, as I'm learning emotional and like emotional vocabulary, maybe I'll replace it with something else. But today, actually a couple of days ago, I said I fear rejection because of emotional disconnections from relationships in my as a child. Um, and for me, I learned that I never thought, like, if you would have asked me earlier this year, maybe 8 weeks ago, I probably would have said, hell no, like, I'm straight. But it was brought to my attention on my coaching session last week, and she was like, well, maybe you have abandonment issues. Like, maybe there's some emotional abandonment. And I'm like, hold on, girl, I was not abandoned, because my understanding, my logical understanding of abandonment or rejection looks like physically somebody leaves, right? It looks like, it looks like detachment that you can visibly see. But as a child, I experienced it on an emotional level, because if I'm trying to tell you a story and you telling me I talk too much, or I'm trying to tell you a story, but you looking past me at the TV and not paying attention to me, I'm building my own perception of what relationships look like. You know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say, y'all, when we are, oh, hold on, look at T and Don over here. Yes, love, I completely understand. Choose your family. And then Don said it didn't feel genuine. And then T said, you've experienced it. Now you know what it means. Yes. And I also am learning the proper vocabulary, because at first, I was struggling. Like, in the session, I'm over here, and when I say it was actually, one session was with like my one-on-one coach, but then the other session was with, it was a group of us. It was 6 of us, and so we were just like talking about stuff. And they actually brought up, like, I would have never said, I probably have emotional abandonment issues. I never knew that word with my experience, because my experience, it looked like, it looked completely different versus what I emotionally experienced, if that makes sense. You didn't know, yeah, I didn't know the emotional side. So let me see, how we gonna how we gonna bring this to a close, y'all. So what is the risk? For whatever reason, again, as y'all can see, I am, maybe part of my journey is being more open and telling, y'all, what I see. And that's what I'm saying, like, it also creates some self, I mean, when you aren't congruent. One of my words this week was to be congruent. When you aren't congruent in your life, people can feel it. People can feel it, and you feel like, oh, I have low confidence, right? But I'm like, something's not right, because I feel very confident. Like, I feel like I'm a confident person, especially, like, again, I don't mind like coming on and saying, y'all, shorty going through it. Shorty is going through it. I don't mind. Like, I'm not embarrassed. And I'm learning that's true, but not in every aspect of my life. So with myself, if I'm with myself, I don't know, 20 hours a day. I don't know, y'all. But if I'm with myself 20 hours a day and I'm feeling like imbalanced, that means that I'm not congruent in my life. So one of my hacks is, what's the risk, right? Because I know I'm not perfect. I know, like, I'm learning. I know that it's a journey. One of my biggest goals in life is to empower people. And so, again, subconsciously, and we're gonna figure all this out. This is not, we don't have to figure out everything today. It's a journey. But as I'm going through my messy middle, to be more, because there has been times where I've done lives where I didn't know. I'm like, oh shit, like, if I tell these people my truth, like, what they gonna say, what they gonna think? But actually, y'all, I will say, shout out to my leadership training. I think I'm past like about other people judging me. I think I'm past that now because y'all, I ain't gonna lie, I was holding on some shame and some guilt and some things that I was embarrassed about, but I done told people, so I feel good. So honestly, at this point, I don't know if let us pray. Hyper, please let me be past that. I don't want to be afraid of people judging me. Like again, I didn't think that because again, I had the shit scoop, right? And I was masking it with other actions and other, other things like going live and just talking. But it's like, okay, but you got shame around this. You feel shame again on the emotional and feeling side. You know what I'm saying? I was putting like, okay, well, I can do lives and I can do this and I can do that and I can do this, but I was still covering up the emotional shit scoop in my life, which is emotions and relationships and other areas of my life. You know what I'm saying? I say all that to say, y'all, what is the risk? What is the risk? What is the risk of 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 us not being congruent in our life? What do we have to risk? What do we get to risk to have total alignment in our life? And so alignment is not agreement, which I'll do a live on that later. But what is the risk that we have to put up in order to get to that next level of our life, in order to overcome these emotional this emotional like things. Like I don't even have the vocabulary to describe emotional stuff. Like it is kind of funny. And y'all know what's crazy? I don't want to go there. But what is the risk? What are the risks that you are willing to pay, that you are committed to pay? Because there are risks that we pay, like, by me saying, oh well, I'm not gonna have any deep intentional relationships. I'm gonna like I'm gonna feel like not genuine with relationships. I'm gonna feel like, yeah, we friends, but are we really friends? I'm gonna feel I'm gonna be with that. You know what I'm saying? And then things that other people pay. Like the first person who comes out to my head is my man. Like if I'm not being deep and intimate and emotional with him, like he suffers, right? So it's all it's just deep and it smurges, right? The shit scoop, it smurges all over our lives. So to take that to a next level, so what am I committed to? I'll read to y'all. I know y'all probably like, this girl said she was gonna read, y'all. It's just that as I'm looking at this, I'm like, oof, girl, don't read that. Not yet, but it's a journey. That doesn't mean I won't read it. It's just that there I do believe this. We should always share our journey, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, but also we should keep some things for ourselves, to have that like kind of privacy, or yeah, to have that privacy. But at the same time, if I do know that it is helping me, I'm willing, and and I know it can help others, I am willing to share. But I said, what am I willing to commit to break out of this? And again, I don't know if there's a blueprint for it, because I don't know if there's a blueprint. But what I am being super intentional on figuring out, like the more emotional, actually, y'all, look at me, I actually came up with a contract, y'all. This is like, and it's so crazy, y'all, when you get deep. And I know it's like, okay, girl, are you avoiding? Y'all see, like, hold on. Did y'all just see that? Did y'all just see that? I literally, I have been like hesitant to read y'all my journal. Number one, because it is super private. But number two, I'm still feeling like this is real life, y'all. I'm still feeling like around it, right? So I thought of something else that is super good. And I immediately put the damn journal down because I'm like, too deep. Do y'all see that? So even as I'm putting myself out there and trying to get super intimate and emotional and deep and connected with myself and y'all who are still watching, like it happened. Y'all see how like subtle that was? Like I didn't think about it. It literally happened. So that's how shit looks like in our life. Like we over here thinking like, oh no, I'm good. But rejection and fears And self-sabotage, it shows up. It shows up in our life. And if you're not paying attention, like I just call myself out because I'm saying, oh, I want to be more connected and deeper and intimate in my relationships. And as I'm trying to be vulnerable, right? I'm working on my vulnerability. I literally subconsciously thought of something else to say so I didn't have to share it, so I could forget. Yeah, but that is a perfect example. Y'all can't make this up. That is a perfect example of the things that we do in our life to self-sabotage, to distance ourselves from the things that we commit to, do all the things, right? So sidebar. Let's get back on track. I never realized this. I never realized this until like this past month. Of course, I've always known, and I identify as a woman. Y'all probably like, what the hell is this girl talking about? But no, listen, y'all. Of course, I identify, and I know I'm a woman, blah, 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 blah. Because I know that's kind of controversial. Whatever. Get over it. But I never really tapped into my femininity. Femininity? I don't even know how to say the damn word, y'all. I never really tapped into it because I always saw myself as a leader. And I always saw myself as like, I don't know, like a badass. Like I always saw myself as like, like it just a little bit more masculine energy. It was never like, I'm a woman, and it's like, why is that go? Why can't you be all the things? Why can't you be a woman who leads? You know what I'm saying? Why can't you be a leader who leads gracefully and elegantly and you know what I'm saying? From a divinely, from like a goddess. Like why can't you be a goddess and a leader? Why can't you be a woman who leads, right? And I never really questioned it. I just knew that I'm a fucking leader. So what's up? I got this. Let's go. Like that's just how I always identify. I've always identified myself as a leader. Like I knew that I was leader. I knew I had to charge. I was always living in my masculine energy. And y'all think like a lot of people see me, and it's not like and like y'all please don't take none of this wrong. I know it's like you can't say nothing, but there's some people who that you just know. Like when you look at the person, you just know what energy they operate from. But I just felt like I don't know. That's we can talk about that later. But anyways, up until this past month, I did this exercise, and what came up to me, my contract to myself is like, y'all, I'm about to tell y'all all my business. So what came up is I am a free, loving, connected woman. I am a free, loving, connected woman. That is my contract to myself. And a couple things come up from that. First of all, we have everything that we want inside of our life. Everything that we want is there, y'all. We get to start to trust ourselves more. We get to trust ourselves more because I didn't even know I needed those words. Like I've always, knew, and we'll do a episode on contract. Girl, that's what I said. She was like, okay, Miss Connector, because what's crazy is I actually gave the man that name. That is so crazy. But girl, we're gonna talk about that contract, y'all. You know what? We'll do a live later this week, and we'll talk about making our personal contracts. But I did this exercise, and I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I kind of feel a little burnt out. Like again, I've been operating from this like this hardcore energy my entire life. Like I always felt like I had to speak up, I had to lead, I had to, get the shit done. Like I've been operating from a masculine energy for years, my entire life. I never knew that though. So I never knew that in my mind. I just thought like I'm a leader. I'm here. What's up, right? And then so I did this exercise, and I was working on, okay, how do I get my like what do I really want? Who do I want to be? Who do I want to show up as in the world? Like how do I want to be? Like how do I want to be? How do I want to experience life? And those are the words that came up for me. I am a free, meaning because again, when I was operating in that energy, because it was something that I put a scoop on, right? I put a scoop on top of my other shit my entire life. 28 years in my life, I'm putting scoop on of being like and like operating in my masculine energy, my inner being. And you know what's crazy? Side note, Devan actually, like, I feel like he has kind of like helped me uncover that, because he was like, babe, like, you operate from your heart chakra, like you are a walking heart chakra. That's one of the names he calls me. And I don't know what this boy talking about, but I'm a badass. What's up, right? But I wasn't free when I was operating in that masculine energy. I wasn't free. I felt like I have to be disciplined and I have to. Y'all know it's like being a strong black woman. Oh my gosh. I thought that I had to be a strong black woman in order to get the things done. But it's like, I am a strong black woman, even if I am seductive to my man, even if I am graceful, even if I am elegant. But I didn't have that attached to me emotionally, right? So freedom, I wasn't free. I wasn't free. I was leading and I was getting it done and all the things, and not being feminine and operating as a woman. I don't know. Y'all, we're gonna have to do another live on this part, because as I'm thinking about the contract, I'm also, what's coming up for me is that we have these logical definitions. Number one, they are wrong. We use words wrong a lot. Like, we name it this, we call it this, but a lot of times that's not even a definition of the word. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, we learn language from each other, and then that person don't even know what the word means, but it's just how they use it, and so we think that's the definition, but it's not. Anyways, we're gonna get back on this contract, but y'all, for 28 years of my life, 28 years of my life, I was operating because I know it's the same, but I was operating, my definition of leader was in masculine energy. It was in masculine energy. And I was a leader. I still feel like a leader, but also I am a woman who leads, right? I'm a woman who leads. So I say all that to say my current contract, y'all, is I am a free, loving, connected woman. That's my contract that I gave to myself on July 28th, 2022. And as I tap into that, as I continue to go forward, my again, and I'm still figuring this stuff out, so it's not like I have it all. But since I've said that, I have been paying attention to, like, I've always done self-care, but again, it was like, I'll tell y'all, like, in a matter of like 5 weeks, I was go back 8 weeks ago. I still had my self care Saturdays, but it was like, okay, did I do my foot masks? Check. Did I do my Did I take a bath? Because I like to sit in the tub and just soak up. It's still like self, but it was so more like, okay, I did that. I did that. Is this done? Check, check, check. But now, like, even just yesterday, I just did it, and even like, y'all, have y'all been seeing me dress up lately? Huh? Have y'all been seeing me dress up lately? It's because I'm like, damn, girl, like, you don't have to. I can just be, right? I can just be, and it doesn't have to be. I don't know if subconsciously I felt like being a leader was more masculine, so I could be more respected or taken serious. I don't know what the hell that was about, but if I want to literally bring in my femininity and my elegance and my womanhood, I'm still gonna be a badass leader, right? Oh, thank you, Don. Don said misperceptions. Yes, T. T said misperceptions. Exactly, girl. We got, maybe you and I should do a live about that, huh? Want to go live with me? Don said you always look amazing. Thank you, girl. Hold on, let me go back through these. Ooh, y'all over here. So, you are doing well, love. Get attention. Don't shift your attention to their feelings. It's not your business. Okay. This is a continual process, recognizing and asking ourselves questions. Anxiety gets you. Just do it. And I know this probably like, what the hell is she talking about? I mean, just do it. You can do it. True. Okay, misconnected. Okay. Yes. T wants to do a live with me. We're gonna do a live about misperception. Let's do that. She said, I love you being dressed up. Me too, girl. I feel so good. Like, but before, and it's not like, because I always knew, I always knew, y'all. And it's not my fault. Y'all should talk to Will and Trine about it. No, I'm just playing. But I've always knew, but I always felt like, oh, I just need to get things done. I just need to get things done versus like, okay, I can get things done and I can look good while I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was that huge disconnect, right? That huge thing of misperceptions. Anyways, y'all, going back to, I forget, it was a point. I hope it made sense. But my misperception, right, and my lack of vocabulary, I thought that in order to be a leader, I just had to ignore my womanhood, and maybe I felt like being a woman, maybe there's some subconscious of women, like y'all know the damn history. We all we there's something happening with just the history of how women got to try harder, right? So I'm like, okay, well, if I show up and they can feel me, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's a side note. I say all that to say, y'all, what are you willing to risk, right? What are you willing to risk? Number one, I'm willing to risk some time to make myself look how I feel. Because Shorty feels good, y'all. I feel amazing. I feel great. So I'm going to make it my intention. I'm going to put my attention on looking how I feel. Okay. Number two. No, I'm just kidding. So it said, so I'm gonna just do this because I'm breaking through. I'm breaking through those triggers, right? And my subconscious, my self sabotage is not gonna get the best of me. But this is what practicing look like, y'all. We practicing life out here, okay? So what is my commitment? What am I willing to risk in order to improve my intimacy in my relationships? What does it look like for me to be more connected with people who I actually care about? It's like, I care about you, but why am I being triggered or having resistance into going deeper with you? Like, that don't even make sense, girl. It doesn't make sense. So what am I committed to, right? What am I committed to? So my commitment, like, what am I willing to risk, right? My commitment is to face the resistance, which is what I just did earlier. Look at me over here honoring my commitments to myself, girl, in front of all these people. Okay. What else? To face the irritation, to face judgment, to face the pain and discomfort, including embarrassment, that comes with potentially being unloved deeply, undervalued, overlooked, hurt, and all the things that I prefer to avoid, because more than protecting myself, I deeply want to be healed and to stand in my power, to build up and believe in my own self worth for me. Y'all, I write sloppy. I cannot read my handwriting. But does that make sense? Hey, Kalia, girl, how you doing, girl? And then I said, I actually wrote this down, y'all. I wrote this entry on 8/11/22. I said, this is for me to empower others. Not that I want it. It's not how I wanted or expected it to look like. Yet it is in alignment with my life mission. So I say all that to say, y'all, I hope that made sense. Because, sometimes when you read, it sound like how it reads. Hold on, y'all. Let me go ahead and get my cover for my Instagram. Was that good? Anyways, don't judge. But y'all, I say all that to say, what is the risk? So I just read to y'all what my risks were: embarrassing myself, facing the fears in relationships and intimacy, facing the things that I want to avoid facing, all the things, right? I'm willing to go there. I call myself out on live. Y'all got to experience it. It may not be the right way, but it's my way for right now until I get more understanding and vocabulary and continue to be coached and learned. But my question is for the thing, and this is just my little life with Zay experience, right? So I guess my question would be like, what is the irritation in your life? What are the things that you are self sabotaging? What are the things that you are avoiding? What are the things that are stopping you from getting to your next level? Like, what are those things? Like, answer it. You can answer it in the comments so we can have a conversation about it, y'all. Or I mean, write it down and journal it out. Like, what are those things? And really work and work with somebody. The shout out to me, doing leadership training. I don't think I would have figured this out by myself. And to be honest, I don't want to do this type of work by myself. Number one, because I don't want to get stuck and stay there. Number one. But number two, I'm learning from people who already have the blueprint, and I'm learning and I'm figuring out and I'm getting more clear, and I'm cleansing my heart, y'all. Like, I'm cleansing my heart. I'm living in my contract. I'm being my honest self. I'm being more congruent in my life. So I'm asking you, what is the resistance? What is the fear? What is the shame? What is the guilt that you crave and you deeply, deeply, deeply desire to release? Yes, Dawn. Dawn said it takes a community. Absolutely, it takes a community. But what are the things in your life that you want to overcome, you want to break through, you want to release and let go? What are those things, right? It's like goal setting. You can't just say, oh, this is what I want, this is the shiny thing, this is what I deeply, deeply desire, without expecting that we have to release something, that we have to give up something. We have to know, right? We have to know by now. We've lived, you know what I'm saying, on earth long enough to know that there's something that I have to sacrifice, I have to risk, that is bad, but it's not as bad. Like, for instance, like, I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to embarrass myself, but I'm willing to embarrass myself. I'm committed to embarrassing myself by being genuine, by being authentic, by being my real self, and to overcome those fears and not knowing. I want to know who the hell I am. I know who I am. I've always kind of known who I am, but I wasn't living it, not 100%, because I was living with also fears and doubt and intimacy issues. So what are the things that you really, really want, that you want more than the things that you have to risk, right? What are the things that you want more that you have to risk? But then also write out the things that you have to risk. Like, I have to risk being judged, I have to risk being undervalued, I have to risk being overlooked, which is like, girl, please, like, you in your own life, don't worry about that. You get what I'm saying? Because there are a lot of people, and up until now, me as well, I don't care what other people think. Oh, really? So why you not doing the things you said you gonna do? Because you do. There's fear of judgment, there's fear of rejection, there's fear of being undervalued, there's fear of being seen. Like, oh my gosh, these people really, these people know my truth. These people know my secrets. These people know that I don't have my shit together. Like, those are all risks. So, yes to being whole. Yes. I've been the same, afraid of success because of past experiences. Yes. Yes, I've been just getting by and accepting that as my life. Look at these people opening up. So okay. Oh, y'all. Okay. We can do more. Yes, we can. So, but that's what I'm saying. So, instead of just getting by, instead of playing safe, y'all, what are you willing to risk? So we know what we want. I've been getting by. I've been afraid of success. Like, we know that. That's what, you know what I'm saying. That's what we know. But what are the things you're willing to do and actively overcome and break through that? You get what I'm saying? Like, what is something that that's gonna get you there, but you afraid of that too, but it's less worse than the actual thing. I honestly, y'all, the reason why I do so much personal development, the reason why I'm always putting myself out there, the reason why I'm always going the extra mile is because I refuse to die an old lady with fears and not living the life that I've come too far. That's what I feel like. I've been through a lot of things in my life, but we all have, right? We all have our shit scoop, right? And I just feel like I'm in the middle of it, so I might as well get to the other side. I already know what my life looked like without it. I already know what my life looked like without the things. But if we can break through, the fears, the disappointments, I call it staying small. I don't want to live a mediocre small life. I'm sorry. I know not everybody, but that ain't my business. My business is being my contract, being my most authentic, congruent self, being my highest, better self. And not everybody, you know what I'm saying? Not everybody wants that. I still love you, but what are the things that you're willing to overcome? Mediocrity, old habits that aren't serving, being embarrassed, being judged, being unloved by somebody who don't even know their own value or their own worth. It comes from fear of being seen. Well, if nobody don't see you, how you gonna be a part of the community? Done. That's what I'm talking about. Done. Like and done. We just having a conversation, girl. Don't get offended. But what I'm saying is we can't just say, hey, here's the big sign, here's my fears, and just know them. We have to actively experience and be involved and do our life. Yo, we have to be most importantly, but then we have to do it. Like, so I know that I have intimacy issues. So y'all, I'm putting it out there so I don't have no shame around it. But at the same time, I'm actively doing, oh snap, I caught myself. I'm supposed to read something that's super private and personal to me, and it's super vulnerable for me. Some of y'all probably like, girl, that's no, because of our personalities, some people may be like, girl, that's not even a big deal. You ain't saying nothing, girl, tell me something deeper. Some of y'all probably felt or said that, like, girl, that ain't even that deep, right? Because of our personality differences. But for me, that was super intimate and deep. And subconsciously, y'all witnessed me. Y'all, let me tell y'all something else. Immediately, I am working through all these things. Let's go. That's, you know what? And that's the point. That is the point. Being, doing, and then we will have those things done. So, y'all, I feel like this live was all over the place, y'all. But y'all can see that is how my brain is in this current moment. I will say another one of my goals. I feel super focused, but I want to be. My word is continue to be congruent. I want to be congruent in all the things, right? So, with that being said, y'all, I hope this was impactful for y'all. And if it was, y'all can direct message me. But I really want to know, what is the thing that you deeply, deeply, deeply want to break through and overcome. But then number two, which is the most important part, is what are the risks? What are the things that you have to break through and you get to break through in order to have the things that you deeply desire? And DM me, write it in the comments below so you can, because this is on YouTube, this is on Facebook, this is on all channels, so you can help somebody else, y'all. Like Dawn said earlier, it's all about community. And just be your beautiful self, y'all. Just be your beautiful self. And we will see you on the next video.